Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. With the auspicious blessings, divine grace of His Divine Holiness, Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, whom we are all lucky to be able to call Swamiji, I welcome you all to this auspicious morning, the Nitya Satsang. I warmly welcome all of us gathered on Facebook Live, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and all of the social media platforms, and all of the people who newly discovered NTV, who have also joined us in satsang centers, paduka mandirs, pitas, adinams all over the world, across the nation of Sri Kailasa. Over the past few days, we have been continuously in celebration, in festivity here in Sri Kailasa. Just over the last few days, we have celebrated Masi Magham, the last day of Rajarajeshwari Brahmotsavam, where in Pondicherry we have been serving 50,000 people per day, doing healing and offering spiritual services in observance of this festival and for world peace. We've also celebrated Masi Chaturdasi, the second annual Nataraja Abhishekam, which happens traditionally every single year, which Nithyananda Peetham in Seattle, the Adinam, celebrated for the Ananda Nataraja there, as well as in Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Devalayam in Virdi. We are also celebrating, and today is the very last day, the conclusion, final day, and climax of the Vijayotsavam. On this day, we wanted to recognize, pay ode and respect, and also explain some of the misconceptions of Hinduism. Swamiji himself has continuously been describing, been explaining in detail about the abuses against Hinduism, the misrepresentations against Hinduism. For example, just the other day, Swamiji was talking about the Kandana Mandana literatures in each sampradaya of Hindu tradition, and how just by quoting these texts and misusing these texts, anti-Hindu forces have pitted even Hindus against each other and weakened us. One of the other examples, which today, during this satsang introduction, we wanted to go over, introduce, re-clarify, and decode as per how Swamiji has clarified and is reviving, is founding the Sri Kailasa nation. One of these misrepresented aspects of Hinduism is Manusmriti. Manusmriti is the guiding doctrine, text, spiritual text of how to govern and practice Hinduism in government. It is a very respectable, honorable, divine, sacred text, and unfortunately, one of the most misused, misrepresented, misquoted texts of Hinduism, completely making debauchery of how Hindu tradition has worked and has led to so much of corruption, misuse, and impoveration of Hindus all over India and all over the world. Today, let us go into the details of Manusmriti, what it is, who made it, and what is the significance of it in Hinduism. And then let's talk about the different areas and clarify the different areas which have been misrepresented.
Nithyanandam. Dear viewers, today, as Masada Shivpriya shared, we want to share some of the truths about the cosmic constitution and debunk some of the myths, misconceptions the world has been forcefully fed about the Vedagamic tradition, about Sanatana Hindu Dharma. The constitution, the laws, the values of Sri Kailasa are based on the Vedagamic scriptures and Manusmriti. You may have heard so much about the Vedas, the Agamas, the source scriptures of Hinduism. However, not many people are aware of the great law book of Hinduism called the Manusmriti. Manusmriti, roughly translated as the laws of Manu, is the most important and authoritative Hindu law book. The traditional name of Manusmriti is also called Dharma Shastra, and it served as a foundational work of Hindu law and jurisprudence in the ancient India for about 1500 years. The lifestyle of the only Hindu nation, the revival of the enlightened civilization, the lifestyle component itself is going to be based on Kamika Agama, and the administrative aspect of it, the code of conduct, the law, is going to be based on the Manusmriti, the first ever Hindu law book that was given to the world by the cosmic constitution writer Manu. Now, how did Manusmriti came into existence? What was the need for it? When humanity started living in large numbers on the planet Earth, we needed a certain understanding. We needed a certain code of conduct, a certain constitution to live with. The cosmic constitution writers of humanity, like Manu, Parashara, Yajnavalkya, are the great Smritikaras who wrote the cosmic constitution, the Hindu law book. The very structure of the family, how the family system came into existence, was given by Manu. The whole family structure was defined to constantly remind us of the ultimate non-duality. The experience of oneness was based on which the entire family structure came into existence. There are so many misconceptions about Manusmriti or the Hindu law book today, and so much of abuse or atrocity has been generated from it. The Manusmriti basically forms the book on which the administration of Sri Kailasa, the only Hindu nation, will be based. So if anywhere Manusmriti is attacked or abused, the Sri Kailasa and the government of Sri Kailasa will stand up to defend Manusmriti. Anybody attacking the Vedas, the Agamas, Upanishads, or Manusmriti, the Sri Kailasa, as the governance of Sri Kailasa, we take it as directly attacking Sri Kailasa itself, and we will stand and defend the Manusmriti and all the Hindu Shrutis, Smritis, the Vedagamic scriptures, and Sanatana Hindu Dharma itself. Today, in this segment, we are going to present about the various misconceptions that have been spread today about Manusmriti, about the various practices in Hinduism.
Speaking of misconceptions about Manusmriti, I am reminded of various different instances, various different misconceptions, I can say, that I myself had, that I myself learned in my school through the history classes. One of them that I realize now, that I understand now, was the misconception on the sati. Sati, if for those of you who do not know, is understood, is defined as a social evil that was prevalent in British India or before British India. I would like to read out a few lines from my history textbook itself first, and then explain to you how it is a misconception. This is how it goes. Sati, as it is commonly known, is a practice of immolation of a Hindu woman on the death of her husband in a funeral pyre. Although this practice does not have any Vedic sanction, it became prevalent in some parts of India. This is the limited cognition that all of us are taught in school, that sati was a practice, first of all, which is a misconception, and nobody explains to us as to why it became prevalent in India. I would like to take you back to one story, a very popular story in the history of India, which will help us understand this better. Maharana Raval Ratan Singh is the king of Mewar, one of the Rajput kings, known for his administration, for his generosity, for his kindness. And he was married to Queen Padmavati. She was known to be so beautiful, not just in outer beauty, but even in character, even in her chastity, even in her skills. As a person, as a being, she was extremely beautiful. This was during the Mughal Sultanate, during the modern Mughal rule. And one of the Mughal emperors, kings, rulers was Khilji. He had taken it upon himself that he wanted to conquer, possess, have it under his control, every best thing in the universe. Whether it's land, whether it's gems, whether it's jewelry, whether it's the best kingdom or the best woman. Having heard of Padmavati, he decided that he wanted her also for himself, knowing that she was married, knowing that she was a queen of a kingdom. He tries to approach Maharana Raval Ratan Singh, the kingdom of Mewar, multiple times in very cunning ways to capture Padmavati. Knowing the intentions of Khilji, Padmavati, with extreme bravery, extreme courage, and extreme chastity, chastity to her husband, chastity to her kingdom, chastity to herself, to her values as a woman, she does not give in to Khilji's demands. On one such occasion, Khilji captures the king through deceit and takes him away to his kingdom. Padmavati, as the queen, takes on the responsibility as a mark of her chastity, goes all the way to the kingdom of Khilji, to the Delhi Sultanate, and brings back her husband through the power of her chastity. Having faced all this, Khilji doesn't stop. He declares war against Mewar, against Singhal, the kingdom of Rana Raval Singh. Hindus who always stuck, who always stood by and who always practiced the Dharma Shastras, accepted and waged the war in a very, very dharmic way. Even in battle, Maharana Raval Singh is killed through deceit. Not even by Khilji himself, but by another soldier, by another person of Khilji's army, through deceit. And as a result of this, Mewar, Singhal, loses the battle. Padmavati, on hearing this, decides to burn herself in fire, to give up her own body, not because of fear, not because of anything else, but just to protect her DNA, protect her dignity. Because if she was left alive, the Mughals, Khilji, would not let her live in peace. They would have raped her. They would have used her as just a commodity. And the sad story is that not just her, but the whole kingdom of Mewar, of Singhal, would have been a victim to the brutal attacks of the Mughals.
When talking about the brutal attacks of Mughals and why were they so focused on getting the women? Why were they so focused on ensuring that somehow they captured the women despite of whether they win or lose in the battle, using all tactics? Why were they so focused on getting the women? It was not just because Rani Padmavati was exceptionally beautiful. No. This is what we learn in our history textbooks, but it's not just that. The main reason why the Mughals were hell-bent on getting our women was mainly because we carried the best DNA. As a mix of the Yadava clan and the Kuru dynasty, the DNA, the best DNA, starting from Abhimanyu, it was running in the bodies of all the Hindus. And this DNA was so powerful. All they wanted was this DNA. And our women, the Tyaga they did. Firstly, they did not want to be even touched by anyone else, and they wanted to uphold their chastity. So even if they drink poison and die, the Mughals are so barbaric. There are so many evidences, stories for what I'm talking about. How even when the woman dies, these Mughals will not leave their bodies without sexually abusing. And that is the main reason why they decided to burn themselves alive, so not even a bit of their mortal remains will get into the hands of those barbaric Mughals. So this Tyaga, what they did, was not just about protecting their chastity, and it is even more intense. They protected the very DNA of Hindus from reaching to those barbaric Mughals.
Actually, if you see, this entire Sati system was never a force. I mean, it was neither. If you see this entire period, there was a certain point of time where Sati system was the relationship between a man and a woman. In those days, when we all of us lived for the highest purpose of life, even a relationship between a husband and wife was so pure that it will lead them, both of them, to the highest paths and purpose of their life. And when that kind of relationship and when that kind of a life was lived, when the husband leaves the body and when the wife attains her purpose, she also chooses that all her responsibilities are done. She can also just leave her body at her will. That was a strength, it was a power, and it was purely a choice. And if you see, there were many women who chose to stay back and continue their responsibility. For example, even in great Puranas like Mahabharata, if you see, Madri is an example of a Sati system where she chose to leave the body and she chose to it, and she was able to leave the body the moment Pandu left. But same, we also have the example of Kunti and Satyavati, where after their husbands left their bodies also, they decided to stay back, and they had all the freedom to stay back and continue. But what was a choice and what was a pure celebration and what was a pure choice of women became a force because of these barbaric invasions that we were put through. If you see from this example of stories like Kunti and Satyavati to now the stories we talk, this entire Johar of Rani Padmavati, all of them, it was not a choice. These women who are epitome of Tyaga, who held their dignity, their self-respect and the respect for Sanatana Hindu Dharma even more higher than their lives. When Rani Padmavati and so many of the women during British invasion and the Mughal invasion, when they realized that this was not just stealing the wealth, this was not just stealing the knowledge, this invasion was directly even stealing their very DNA, the very core, the very wealth of that every woman and every single Hindu carried in their blood.
I just wanted to highlight something over here when we talk about Sati system. Just wanted to correct it over here. Sati was never a system. It is just a word that we are coining, like to tell about their sacrifice. It's a word we are using, but Sati was never a system. Sati system, this term came into existence only after 19th century. After the British invaded. There is absolutely no records, be it in the period of Rama or be it in the period of Krishna, during Rama's time. When Dasharatha left his body, all the three queens were still alive. Be it Kaikeyi or be it Sumitra, be it Kausalya, all of them alive. There was never a system called Sati. The Sati system.
That is very true. When you mentioned it became a system only in the 19th century during British India, I would like to quote one statistics here where it says in the year 1817 alone, 700 women were burnt alive. Do we see the shift in the whole practice or in the whole system where women gave up their lives? They entered the fire as a tyaga to protect their dignity, to protect their DNA, from a system where women were burnt alive. This cannot just happen over a fraction of a second or cannot just shift. There is something very important that we have to understand about how this change happened. The word remained the same as Sati. But what happened was a very strategic attack to destroy Hinduism. Before we go in more into this topic, let us listen to what Swamiji has to say about this. Swamiji has beautifully explained the context of what this practice was and what this act of sati was. I would request
even what you hear about sati, the narrative you are hearing is not real right narrative. Kundi was alive. Kundi, why she did not jump into the fire? Sati was never a compulsion. Sati was never a compulsion. Kundi was alive, and we have tons of stories.
so, like Swamiji said very briefly, that the story that we are told is completely not true. During the British rule, during the Mughal rule, during the British invasions, what they did is attacked the cream of our society, attacked the Brahmins, the priests, the scholars who were responsible to teach and make the whole society cognize the cosmic principles, cognize the Hindu truths, understand the Manu Shastra, understand the Hindu way of life. This part of the society was brutally attacked. They were massacred. The whole society was taken by force and power. They were brutally attacked, and the whole society was taken by fear that if anybody spoke out the truth, spoke out about the real Shastras, or stood up for the Hindu Shastras, for principles of Hinduism, they would be killed, literally. Through this, and through the relentless attacks on our scriptures, burning libraries, destroying scriptures, through endless attack on our scriptures and our scholars and our priests, the society, the Hindu society, the vulnerable society of India, which was attacked physically and now has no access at all to their original Hindu Shastras, was now very vulnerable to be brainwashed by the British with now their mistranslated, misrepresented, misinterpreted principles that they taught us about Hinduism to ourselves. So through this mistranslation, misrepresentation, they put in ideas into us. They introduced, I can say, practices that were not at all in the Hindu Shastra, that were not in practice in the previous Hindu society. And that is how eventually sati became a practice. And the very, I don't know if I have to call it fun thing, but the very sad irony is that having done this whole atrocity, the British project themselves as reformers of the society. They come in now and ban this practice of sati, which is now forcing women to enter the fire, and become the heroes who have saved us from the very primitive and brutal, barbaric practices that we had. But that is not the truth. It was not a practice in Hindu society at all. It was taught to us. We were not given access. We had no access to the Hindu Shastras, to our principles, to even understand what the society was. So over a period of 2 to 3 generations, there was a complete gap between society based on the Shastras, based on the Manusmriti. And now, what we were molded into, literally we have become in the hands of the Britishers.
Actually, Majaya, I still remember what you're talking, right? This entire persecution, this entire history that we are learning today is edited, altered, presented in a completely different context. I still remember in my 6th grade when I learned about all of these, never was this context of how these barbaric invaders, how they attacked, how they destroyed our systems. It was never taught. How they used to teach us is about these stereotypes and prejudice and all these against women it is happening, and our system, it was, so they started presenting as a sati system. We're all institutionalized in our normal way of living. And they used to tell it is all cultural, it was all made from the culture. So even a Hindu, even though I was a Hindu, even I started disrespecting that without knowing the context or without knowing the reality of how it is mispresented.
Actually, even I remember even reading all this, I used to feel like, oh, we have to be a secular and not a Hindu. This is an idea I used to continuously be cherishing till I came and met Swamiji and actually came to know what is a true context, what was the actual things. And this entire sati system, the way how it got attacked, the way how it is today, what we are knowing, it is not just a simple thing. It was a tactic that British used so they can destroy Hinduism. They saw that they were not able to penetrate into Hindus without breaking that backbone of the Gurukul system, without breaking that scriptural knowledge that each of them had. It took generations for them. That is why only in the 19th century they were able to bring in this concept of sati system as a force. They used to go, if all these British people used to go to each village, they used to spread they established the East India Company, and they were penetrating as a part of the commoners, and any place where the husband dies, they used to go sit and encourage women to jump into the fire. And only when they jump into the fire, they go, and like a group of them go and celebrate and cherish that family, telling, oh, see what a great thing you have done. You have actually followed the scriptures rightly. This was a technique that they used so they can destroy the Hindus, exploit Hindus by manipulating Sanatana Hindu Dharma to them.
One thing that I would like to highlight here, Ma, while Nithyananda was sharing, I completely resonate with the fact how we are taught in our classes, right? What really shakes me today, after understanding the true context from Swamiji, it was not just the history textbooks which said this in text, but the amount of conviction with which my history teacher taught me this history. She believed it, that this is the history. It is the impact it has had on the minds of the people that till today, we believe that this is our history, and that is why we do not take pride in being a Hindu at all. This is the success of what the Britishers were trying to do. Completely demoralize us, make us have an inferiority complex about our tradition, completely hiding the glory and making us their slaves. Now, what is the solution? And I would like to bring in here how Swamiji is bringing back all the right knowledge by bringing back the original scriptures, by preserving the scriptures. So much of work, of contribution is going into preserving the scriptures, into translating them correctly, making the translations available to the whole world, by uploading it all freely onto the digital media, making it easily accessible. Whatever the British did, completely cut off our access, mistranslated, everything is being undone and being taught to the society. Swamiji is living as an example of the glory of Hinduism to inspire the world as an example, and is bringing back the glory of Hinduism, and with that the whole contribution and benefit that Hinduism can do to the world.
Actually, so it's only very, very few people that even cognizes, and even amongst them, it is only Swamiji who has taken it up, who has taken the whole responsibility, and he's committed, he's giving his life to it, to bring back, to erase the wrong history that was taught to us, to erase the wrong past that we are made to cherish, to tell us the truth. Actually, in fact, we all can see a video where Swamiji is defining this entire wrong history that was taught to us.
Breaking the Hindu family legally is one of the worst things done to Hindus by all the anti-Hindu forces ganging up. See, Hindu joint families are like a Gurukuls. Even after Gurukul is broken, Hinduism is not completely wiped out because of the Hindu joint families. That is why now the whole legal system is against the families. The law is absolutely supporting to break families in every possible way. I don't want to comment on dowry system and all, but all my devotees who are living outside India, in India dowry is illegal. So all devotees who are staying outside India, in your country, if dowry is not illegal, don't be against it. Understand one thing, I am not saying girl should be sold and all that. Dowry is fundamentally giving wealth right to women. The money you bring from father's home is completely with you, and dowry should not be handed over to the in-laws. It should be in the girl's hand. That's the way usually in anyhow, lots of Hindu way of lifestyle is getting harassed, attacked, and I cannot speak about it. If I comment on it, again there will be unnecessary huge media ruckus. At some time, I will revive all this somewhere and keep it all this alive. Anyhow, we should not allow the families to be destroyed by wrong legal system, which is anti-Hindu absolutely. Actually, even description of the dowry is wrong. Originally, the dowry system was, see, for example, whatever Sita was given by Janaka, Rama or Rama's kingdom will never take it as the part of them. It's a pride. They will keep everything for Sita in Sita's place, where Sita's residing. It will all be there with Sita. It's for Sita to do what she wants to do. It's her freedom. That is the way the economical freedom of the girl is ensured in those days. As if in the modern day, the dowry has been attacked, abused so much. As if in the modern day they have stopped it or what. Now the girls are looking for wealthy boys and planning for who is the rich, high-salaried individual and getting married. What is there? And this is called planning for future. No Hindu lifestyle was wrong. Whether Gurukul, joint family lifestyle, nothing was wrong. All false ideas about our ancestors and about our lifestyle has been taught to all you guys. We ourselves, last 200 years, we Hindus are made to believe our lifestyle was wrong and all our sufferings were because of our lifestyle. It's all absolute fault. Every small thing our ancestors
Actually, after listening to Swamiji explain, we all were discussing about this sati system, but actually even dowry system, it is even more than sati system. I would say even today what is having a huge impact is this dowry system, because I actually was reading about it and I saw even as recent as 2011, there were more than 8,000 deaths just in India because of dowry system. In fact, in 1960s period, they had something called bride burning, where if the bride in the girl's side, if the bride side, the parents are not giving enough of dowry, the son, that is the husband and the mother-in-law, will burn the bride. They were given poison, they were killed because the dowry was not enough. So actually dowry system was something took that was even more, I would say, even more ruthless on people, because women were suffering so much because of it. And even in spite of dowry prevention act, all of that came, still this dowry system is having a huge effect on people. So what is the actual context that the dowry system was brought in?
Actually, I would like to explain this, like how Swamiji was sharing. See, dowry system by itself was not, it didn't carry the definition that it is carrying the society today. The dowry was never a fixed amount. And first of all, it was never the boys' side that they would request for the amount what they wanted to give. No, it was the father of the bride who will give just to show his compassion, like how much he cares for her. It's like a pride, like how Swamiji is telling. The bride's father would send all the gifts, whether it's in the form of jewels or money or everything, along with the bride. So when she enters a new family, she is not going to be dependent on them or anything of that sort. Instead, she is going to be coming as a blessing. When she comes in, she will not be like a burden. She would be like a blessing. She would have all these gifts, everything. And this would also give her her own freedom. And when talking about this, like I just wanted to quote an example. Like Swamiji was explaining about Sita. Even during the Mughal period, when Emperor Akbar had married Jodha, a Rajput princess, Jodha's father had sent her with a huge amount of wealth. If kids who read this Akbar Birbal story, if you would come across this situation where Akbar gets angry on his wife and tells Jodha to get lost and go back to your father and take all whatever is your belonging, take and go. The description very clearly says that her entire palace was emptied because all the items in her palace were bought from her father's home. So dowry was never any kind of a burden either on the family, nor was it ever demanded by the bridegroom's family. It was the bride's father who would send it as gifts, as a show of their pride along with their daughter.
I'd like to highlight, thank you, Priya, that's actually a perfect, apt example. And I'd like to highlight what Swamiji said about the wealth right of women, economically empowering women. Now see, we live in a day and age where this idea of economically empowering women and the wealth right, the right for women to have equal pay, for women to have equal judgment in getting loans, all of this is a very talked about serious issue in modern day society. We live in a society where many women are still struggling with those where the financial stress on women is actually statistically. Sorry.
Exactly, even to this day, actually, this definition, how money is even cognized by people today, and how it was completely different during their period, where in our ancient period, so I'm just explaining, even just 300 years before, the entire concept of dowry was completely different. Because the concept of money, the concept of economical freedom was different.
So though at that time that kind of a context was there, today what is being followed is an absolutely mispresented, and like history taught is completely wrong. Correct?
Today manipulated. It's not even mispresented, but even manipulated. Because see, a person, today we are listening a lot, like even recently we were discussing about women empowerment, how women are feeling like they are not being empowered or they are not supported financially. We were even sharing about how there are single mothers who are, it's very difficult for them to handle their children and job at the same time. If the same dowry system as per the Vedic tradition was being followed. But it's really concerning that we have lost that system today, like because we are not even following with that same context. Instead, it was manipulated, and that was used as a weapon to attack Hindus.
Actually, today in the name of this modern feminism, all of that, what is happening is wrong ideas of the tradition is presented to people, and then it is actually today if you see, even I had an idea about dowry, it is completely wrong. It is like taking a woman, just because you are getting a woman to your house, you give so much of money, and it is made a stereotype where you have to pay, and it is like a social more like a status quo. So it is completely, it has become so diluted.
Actually, that was never, that's what like we have to understand here, that was never the practice.
Absolutely.
I have a question. How, to Ma Tattvapriya and Ma Nithyananda, I have a question. How dowry financially and economically will support her and her kids?
I would like to explain this now. Thank you so much, Mahasannidhanam, for even bringing up this question, because many people do have this question. See, like today we have this concept where we are independent, where women are independent and running their lives. True, that is something that's actually good, that you want to be independent. But this system is not about making you dependent on that money. When you come, when the bride comes from her father's home into her newly married house, into a newly married home, she gets enough, like the father sends her with all that he could afford, like whether it's in the form of jewels, clothes or money. So all these things, for her basic amenities, for basic needs, she is not going to be asking her husband. Understand? I am not telling asking her husband would be wrong or she earning would be wrong. No. She can ask, the freedom is always there, but it is not making her bound to something. This is giving her that support, where with this support that she's having, she will be able to pursue what she wants.
Tattvapriya ma'am, I have one more question in this, because I am not, because this is my understanding, how it is empowering the woman by giving basic need for her survival is empowering the woman.
Actually, here, if you see, in today's world, if a woman, say there is a marriage that happens and then the woman goes, there's so much of uncomfortability. I would say there is so much of struggle for her initially, because it is, for anybody it will be a new family or something. So initially, today, especially today, there are so many ideas about being independent, standing on your own feet, where you are financially independent, morally, completely independent of your spouse. So that has become like a trend these days. But actually, if you see, this entire dowry system was given, like how Ma Tattvapriya were sharing. In fact, even Swamiji was saying this in the video, where it was given as a support from the parent side. So a father or a mother will feel concerned, because initially when the daughter goes to the house, anything she wants to do, she doesn't need to be dependent on the in-laws or on the husband's side for her to do something. For example, say that they will want to start a business or something like that. So it will be completely their freedom, and the basic needs were supported always by their parents.
See, it is just showing how the parent protects. Just to explain with a small example. For example, let's say you are going to a tour to some place, right? How your parents ensure you will be provided when you're going for a trip with your, let's say, your schoolmates. So they are going to, of course, provide you with everything. But from home, how your mother packs and gives you stuff. She'll pack and give you things. So that is not about, oh, you have to be dependent only on what your mother is packing and giving. It is just showing her concern, her care towards you. Exactly like that. The father shares, like the father ensures that the daughter is happy. So it is just showing his care, his compassion.
Another point I'd like to add is that the women, in giving this dowry, in giving that wealth right for women, she's no longer limited just to the role of the maternal role, just to needing to take care of the kids. In addition to taking care of the kids and having the financial security for kids, she can also take up business. She can also take up many other aspects of what she wants to take up and how she wants to contribute to society. She's very much enabled to do so. And compared to today, how much stress a woman goes through financially is actually statistically proven. I would like to share from a very well-known institution and knowledge base, think tank, finance.com. They have broken down how the women have been suffering compared to men. For example, 38% of women are even considered financially fit, compared to 52% of men, showing that at least 12% less women are still, 12% less women are compared to men even considered financially fit. When it comes to loans, 41% of women, out of all the women, are denied loans, compared to the 30% of men who are denied loans. 43% of women are still only having $500 in their checking accounts, compared in one of their studies that they have made, compared to 18% of men. Let's analyze these statistics. The amount of women who are still struggling, who are not able to consider themselves financially fit, who are still not able to get a loan, is actually shown and proven to be higher than men. And I'm not trying to argue men versus women here. I'm trying to show specifically that in so many aspects, the stress load of financial security falls on women. When that happens, the health falls, the ability for her to care for her children falls, the ability for her to care for the household falls. In that way, the entire society, women being one of the central focal points, the central roles of society, is destabilized. The way the dowry system worked was in order to relieve this stress, in order to bring more equality and more stability into this entire system. I'd like to point out that this in modern day, we are continuously struggling. People are looking for the answers, how to empower women financially, how to bring them out in business, how to empower them in their so many hundreds of roles. When a woman is a mother and and working and simultaneously doing so much of leadership within different committees in her neighborhood and so forth, many institutions in society are recognizing that the financial stress on women is higher and needs more dire concern. They're looking for this solution, where in the Vedic civilization, we have already seen this. We have already seen the women's role as seen the woman's role and enabled her how to support her in this way. And not only this, the joint family household that Swamiji had talked about in the video as well, that is what the anti-Hindus were focusing on. That is what they were trying to break apart. They knew that this dowry system is what is making the women financially stable, thus making the children and the husband financially stable, and thus making society itself financially stable. And in order to attack that, they have just picked the right way, dismantled the right enactment and act or service in society, part of society, dismantled that entirely, took it out of society, and started to manipulate it, started to misrepresent it, started to entirely move the conversation and move the conceptions and use of dowry in a wrong way, in a way that it is now used as exploitation, which it was absolutely never meant for. The civilization was not built for that, and only as in its entirety, the Vedic civilization was dismantled, so many different attacks was happening and weakened, only that enabled for dowry to be completely manipulated and made into what it is today. Unfortunately, we are still seeing, as Nithyananda had explained, we are still seeing the extreme acts of dowry being misused today. And it really makes us think, what was the use for it in the nation that Swamiji is creating. Swamiji is very clear how dowry was used before and how it should be implemented in society in order to build a proper, stable society. So once again, I'd like to have all the viewers watch. Let's once again revisit those points that Swamiji has told about dowry and revisit that and once again see exactly how he is building our nation, how he is cognizing the right of women and cognizing the stance of women in society.
Breaking the Hindu family legally is one of the worst thing done to Hindus by all the anti-Hindu forces ganging up. See, Hindu joint families are like a Gurukuls. Even after Gurukul is broken, Hinduism is not completely wiped out because of the Hindu joint families. That is why now the whole legal system is against the families. The law is absolutely supporting to break families in every possible way. I don't want to comment on dowry system and all, but all my devotees who are living outside India, in India dowry is illegal. So all devotees who are staying outside India, in your country, if dowry is not illegal, don't be against it. Understand one thing, I am not saying girls should be sold and all that. Dowry is fundamentally giving wealth right to women. The money you bring from father's home is completely with you, and dowry should not be handed over to the in-laws. It should be in the girl's hand. That's the way usually in anyhow, lots of Hindu way of lifestyle is getting harassed, attacked, and I cannot speak about it. If I comment on it, again there will be unnecessary huge media ruckus. At some time, I will revive all this somewhere and keep it all this alive.
In this video is actually such a sweet, such a enabling, empowering cognition which is he has given all of us. Swamiji has promised, even he has just committed so casually that somehow he has to revive all of this. The right for women to be economically empowered, to have that wealth right, inherently given by society itself. Vedic civilization has exemplified this in many ways. And Sri Kailasa in itself, being founded on Manusmriti, is going to be founded in all of these principles.
Well said, ma'am. Sri Kailasa is the revival of Manusmriti, I will say. Before that, there is a great master, Manika Vasagar, in Tamil Nadu. He is an enlightened master, great devotee of Shiva. He composed a set of poems called Tiruvasagam. There is a proverb. If somebody can't melt for those words, he can't be melted for anything. Heart-pouring experience of his interaction with Shiva. So many people have asked him, please give us the meaning of the verse. Please give us the translation. We really need to understand. We want to understand the secrets of your super consciousness so that we can use that as our super consciousness. He went to temple, showed the deity that this is the meaning. He just went in and disappeared into the deity, literally disappeared. There are some secrets can't be revealed because words are too poor. It can be only the experience. In the same way, like how Manika Vasagar showed the deity as the meaning of Tiruvasagam, Manu, Paramashiva is the deity as the meaning of Manusmriti. To understand the secrets of our super consciousness, Manusmriti, it is the ultimate to live a life. And Manusmriti is the guideline from Manu himself to live Jivan Mukti life. And also, Manusmriti is the living Dharma, I will say, because it represents the moral principle that makes humans' life worthy and provides meaning to the system that has been evolved to support human life to attain the super consciousness. Manusmriti, it is said, good action produce good fruits. Evil actions provides evil fruit. We can literally see with our naked eyes the play of cosmic laws of Manusmriti in Kailasa by Paramashiva as Manu himself. Manusmriti is the symbol of Tyaga. In Kailasa, Tyaga makes the possibility exist. Expression of our life energy intensely, in every aspect, in all dimension. The ability to think in like how Swamiji say, like weighing the pros and cons properly and planning our life and expanding our purpose is simply will manifest in Kailasa. And Manusmriti, intense Tyaga, is the intense Tyaga. Because Kailasa is the revival of Manusmriti. It is literally nectars of inspiration uttered out of Paramashiva's Tyaga to all of us. And Kailasa is reviving and will revive the Manusmriti. And Swamiji is already giving us the truths in daily satsang.
Sri Kailasa, as Swamiji has established, and as Shiva Yoga has said, is the revival of Manusmriti. The governing doctrine of Sri Kailasa itself is this text. Swamiji has in so many ways ensured that the authentic revival is in place. As Majaya even mentioned earlier in this introduction, just through the translation of texts, the collection of texts, ancient texts, collection, preservation, and restoration of them, and then translating them into English with their correct context and meaning, that is one of the biggest contributions that Swamiji is doing through a extremely important project and mission called Sarvajnapeetam. To all of you who have been listening, who are viewers and who are inspired to join in Swamiji's mission to take part, and who understand that Swamiji is the only hope that Hindus have for a future on planet Earth and for our basic survival. For all of you who understand this, I invite every single one of you, you can fill up an intention form to become a SJP Yajaman. This SJP Yajaman is an opportunity becoming a pillar in the mission of Swamiji to revive Sri Kailasa, to revive the true context established by Manusmriti, and so many other exclusive, extremely significant, powerful programs and heritage. I invite you all to ensure that you, if you are interested in becoming a pillar in the Sarvajnapeetam, you can fill up the intention form and we will guide you in the process of slowly becoming and establishing yourself as an SJP Yajaman, as a pillar of Sri Kailasa.
If you feel you cannot wait any longer and you want to immediately join us, contribute to this initiative, this cause that Swamiji is working for. If you resonate that bringing back the authentic Hindu practices, authentic Hindu traditions is the solution to the global issues happening today, whether it's global peace, corruption, the way, the treatment, the status of women in the society. If you are able to understand that Manusmriti, the lifestyle as per the Shastras, everything is the solution, then Join us, become a voice to tell the world the importance of the Hindu lifestyle, of the Hindu practices, of everything that Sri Kailasa is standing up for. Swamiji has beautifully given us the opportunity to join the global cause of Sri Kailasa uniting nations. The only Hindu nation, Sri Kailasa, is taking up the responsibility to unite nations, to educate them, to teach them the ideal way of living as prescribed in the Hindu Shastras. We have various causes that Sri Kailasa is uniting nations for. Sri Kailasa uniting nations for feminine empowerment and gender equality. Sri Kailasa uniting nations for revival of sacred texts of scriptures. Sri Kailasa uniting nations for revival of ancient rituals, of unique religions, of ancient traditions, of sacred sciences, and 108 such causes. If you feel that you want to join us and help us take this message to the world, sign up in the link that you're seeing below, www.nithyanandahinduuniversity.org/daily satsang, and we will tell you as to how a few minutes, an hour of your day that you can spend with us will contribute towards taking this mission of Sri Kailasa uniting nations to the whole world. Please take a few minutes to sign up.
I also invite all of the viewers, as Swamiji is the one who is reviving this great mission, this nation of Sri Kailasa, and as we recognize that he is the avatar, the embodiment of Paramashiva himself, Swamiji has been speaking continuously every single day, at least for the last 7 days now, on Leela Dhyan, or what he has renamed recently as Oneness with the Avatar program, the Leela Dhyan program. The most easiest way to recognize Swamiji's contribution to the world is to understand his to understand his life, to understand the journey of his life, from where he came, the stories of all the eyewitnesses who saw him, who lived with him, who taught him. Today we are actually on the 7th day of the Leela Dhyan program. Yesterday, once again, the participants had gone to the temple and had participated and witnessed some of the eyewitnesses, including Swamiji's family and Swamiji's relatives, hearing from them how Swamiji himself had been so devout as a child, had been extremely passionate for his mission, even as a 6 or 7-year-old. How he used to take satsangs, how he used to be so active about his life, active and enriching. He had so many instances, so many superb experiences from all of his relatives, from everybody who watched him as a child, who continue to tell until today how Swamiji was as a child and how Swamiji had continuously been active, been enriching, been continuously telling everybody about Sanatana Hindu Dharma, about how we should be sticking and practicing the Hindu values, from puja to the way we dress to so many different aspects, everything. He had started this revival, if I can say, literally as he was being born. The program has select blessed participants from all over the world. Even people who do not know English wanted to come and experience this program just to understand Swamiji, just to be able to see his life, experience his life in his very hometown. Even language was not a barrier for them to want to experience, to fulfill their experience. As you can see in the photos, all of the aspects of the programs offered by Swamiji is offered in this as well, including the morning puja, yoga, sattvic organic meals. Everything was offered to the program participants, and they're all enjoying completely this. They all are going to every temple that Swamiji visited in Tiruvannamalai. Not only the Arunachaleshwara temple, the main temple in the town where Swamiji was born, but the Mariamman temple, Arunayanaikiyamman temple. These temples are some of the very, very core locations where Swamiji spent his time, even did alankaram for the deities, connected to the deities as he was 12, 13 years old. And all the participants get to see these temples, get to walk in the hallways and the corridors of the temple where he walked, and get to experience and immerse themselves in these locations where he himself became so immersed in the experience of oneness with Paramashiva. The conductor of the program is Manitya Bhaktikananda Swami, one of the biographers of Swamiji's whole life, and a part of the team for autobiography of the Avatar. She herself has completely, since 2002, been a part of the mission, been witness to the entire mission life of Swamiji, has been actually a part of even the biography of the Avatar, and has contributed in so many ways by collecting the archives, by bringing together all of the different artifacts, photographs, people and eyewitness testimonies of the autobiography of the Avatar, compiling them, and all of which you who is viewing this can also see on autobiography of the avatar.org if you are interested and wanting to explore more into his life. I now invite all of the viewers, as we're moving on, and we are slowly getting to that time to be able to witness the darshan of Paramashiva. If you have any questions for Swamiji regarding relationships, wealth, even the higher truths of the cosmology of the entire universe, I invite you to ask your questions at #AskTheAvatar and tweet at Sri Nithyananda. You can use this time now as we are waiting for Swamiji, and it is almost time to receive him, to use #AskTheAvatar and tweet at Sri Nithyananda. Finally, to all the Tamil viewers who are gathered today from Tamil Nadu and all the related countries, areas speaking Tamil, on April 14th, the Inner Awakening in Tamil is being offered once again. Use the information provided to immediately sign yourself up, as after a long time this opportunity has opened, and it will be an experience that you can have with Swamiji and have the initiation darshan of Swamiji, and as a seeker find more spiritual fulfillment in your lives and be at last in oneness with Paramashiva, with Swamiji.
நீங்கள் எல்லோரும் நித்தியமானவர்கள், நிரந்தரமானவர்கள், அழிவில்லாதவர்கள். மாணிக்கவாசகர் பெருமான் சொல்றார் இல்லையா, புல்லாகி புடாய் புழுவாய் மரமாகி பல்விருகமாகி பறவையாய் பாம்பாகி கல்லாய் மனிதராய் பேயாய் கணங்களாய் செல்லா நின்ற இத்தாவர சங்கமத்துள் எல்லா பிறப்பும் பிறந்திழைத்தேன் எம்பெருமான். உங்களுக்குள்ளே ஒரு பொருள், ஏதோ ஒன்று இந்த எல்லா பிறவியின் போதும் அழியாமல் நித்தியமானதாக இருக்கின்றது. அதுதான் நீங்கள். ஓம் நித்யானந்த பரமசிவோகம். ஓம் நித்யானந்த பரமசிவோகம். நித்யானந்த பரமசிவோகம். ஓம் நித்யா.
Nithyanandam, Swamiji taught us the power of Tyaga. What great, wonderful miracles that it can do to us. And whatever Swamiji teaches us, he always does that through as a living example, by living it and by showing that it is possible. Through the power of Tyaga, Swamiji has created the greatest nation and the only Hindu nation in the world, Sri Kailasa. Whether we become a part of it or not, whether we contribute it towards or not, Sri Kailasa is happening. The greatest historical happening, when we lost all the Hindu nations in the world, the revival and the happening of the only Hindu nation, Sri Kailasa is happening. How do we become a part of this? We can become a part by becoming a Sarvajñapita Ejaman. What does it mean? What does this a Sarvajñapita Ejaman mean? And what can happen to us? Today we have an experience and sharing from Dr. Peter Bloomfield from Los Angeles, his experience, his understanding, and all the wonderful things that he is experiencing by becoming a Sarvajñapita Ejaman. Let us listen and watch to Dr. Peter Bloomfield from Los Angeles.
Nithyanandam, my name is Peter Bloomfield and I'm a physician, an emergency physician, and I'm going to talk to you briefly about the experience of being Sarvajñapita Yajaman. Means someone investing in the Sarvajñapita project. So this project, for those who don't know, is basically His Divine Holiness Paramahamsa Nithyananda's vision for an enlightened civilization, for a civilization that's built around the idea that we as humans are divine beings, are God itself, divided into many different physical expressions, but fundamentally no different from God or Shiva than Shiva itself, just a lesser quantity but the same quality. So a civilization designed to bring out that aspect of us so that we can all know that about ourselves. And as beings, as humans, we can all work together to support each other in expressing our divinity. So that involves things like schools, involves things like sattvic food, recipes and cookbooks as per Sadashiva, dancing, clothes, of course rituals, lifestyle practices, everything designed to bring out our higher consciousness, to bring out our capacity for enlightenment, our capacity to radiate bliss and Sadashivatva. So that's the project in a nutshell. So briefly, my experience around the whole thing. The biggest thing I can say for me is it's a substantial personal investment. And basically, anyone who's becoming a Yajaman, a Sarvanyapita, they're putting a big chunk of their investment and their treasure and their resources to support Swamiji's vision and to support really the world's vision for a society based on higher consciousness. So, for me particularly, I was not a guy who had, a lot of money sitting around. So it was a big stretch to undertake this. And I had no thought or concept I would ever do it. But then one thing led to another, and there I was kind of doing it. And I can just say the impact it's had on me is, see, if you're a person and you have some money, right? However you feel about your money and your fortune and the rise and fall of all of it, it's just you're a small person by yourself with whatever resources you have. And there's kind of like for me there was always a sense of fear around it. What if it goes away? What if I lose it? What if I misinvest it? What if I can't make more? And then any sense of greed, if I have more, what does it mean about me? All of that. But when you become a benefactor of Swamiji's mission and his vision, your money is no longer, it's yours, yes, but it's not just yours. Means not just you is invested in your financial well-being. So when you give your money and support to Swamiji's mission as becoming Sarvanyapita, suddenly you're lined up with the Devas and Devatas. You're lined up with the cosmic intelligence. That means from whatever point you make that personal leap of faith, or however you want to call it, from that point on for the rest of your life, all the cosmic forces are aligned to keep you in good shape. It means you don't have to worry about your financial situation. You don't have to worry about your resources. It's like you're just set up for the rest of your life. Even, like I said, for me it was a very big leap, and I had a lot of limiting beliefs about whether I could invest that or what it would mean, all of that. I can just say ever since I've done it, I don't even have to worry about money anymore. I just know if I need money, I'll have it, and if I need more, I'll have more. And I just know Swamiji and the cosmic intelligence will always be taking care of me. So it's really transformed my experience around money in a huge way. And I know the ease, looking forward when I did it, it looked like it was going to be really hard to do. But looking backwards, once I had done it, the ease with which it happened was amazing. And the ease with which, now it just seems money always is there. As much as I need and maybe more than I need. And it's just a very different relationship around the whole thing. The whole drama, the whole thing is gone. And then the whole idea of your definition by your money, it kind of gets melted as well, because when you're aligned with the vision of Swamiji, of His Divine Holiness, Paramahamsa Nithyananda, when you're aligned with that, you just become part of something so much bigger than your personal bank account. And something that is going to impact billions of people and last for many lifetimes here on earth. So it takes something that is a personal insecurity or personal, vested interest. It takes a very small thing, and then suddenly you become part of a really big thing. And it's just a beautiful transformation that I think anyone, no matter where they're coming from in their personal situation, if they're a millionaire, billionaire now, or if they're struggling to pay the rent or whatever, when you just get lined up with the idea of tying your personal financial well-being to Swamiji's mission to expand consciousness on earth, it's like you're just hooking up to the limitless source. Same way Swamiji never gets tired, same way Swamiji never gets upset, same way Swamiji, nothing will faze him no matter what anyone does or says about him. Suddenly your financial well-being is tied into that sense of possibility and that sense of inevitable amazingness. So it's hard to really put into words more than what I've done, but I can just say it just really transforms what for many people is a very stressful part of your life. So if anyone out there is considering Sarvanyapita or thinking they couldn't do it, or thinking, oh, that's a nice idea but that would be a crazy thing to do, all of that, I really encourage you to think about it, and actually less you think is better, just to do it, and you'll see how your financial life will transform, and whatever stage you're in, you can just declare for where you are and then just see where it leads. It's just an invitation to align with the universe's natural desire to expand and consciousness's natural desire to expand. When you align yourself with that, you're only going to win out. And the cosmos will win out, and everyone else will win out. And of course, there's the fact that when you walk into the Dhyana Pitam as a Sarvanya Pita, you feel like you're a part of it and it is part of you in a really, really, really big and beautiful way. And it's just, there's nothing more that you'd want to be involved with. There's nothing more you'd want to be aligned with. There's nothing more that you'd want to see flourish than this expansion into higher consciousness. And having the opportunity to be a part of it is just there's more security and there's more fulfillment and there's more excitement than any other investment that I can think of with your financial resources. So, I don't know, anyone who's at all considering it, I encourage you to go for it. And I just say, I never, ever, 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 ever have an inkling of regret. It's when your relationship to money is not so much about the numbers, it's about how you feel about the numbers. And when you take some numbers and put them towards Swamiji, how you feel about the numbers dramatically changes. And how you feel about the sense of security and the sense of well-being and you're being cared for the rest of your life, it dramatically changes. More than putting more numbers in your bank account would ever do. It's much beyond that. It's much, much, much beyond that. It transcends that. So anyways, anyone can approach me if they have any questions. And I just say I really, really, really recommend anyone who's considering it to take a leap of faith and go for it.
After this most auspicious morning, spending time in Shaktinipada with Swamiji, being initiated into the superpower of Paramashiva, into Tyaga, I welcome all of the viewers to join us into the Sri Kailasa courtyard sessions. Before entering into those sessions, I invite all the viewers, as Swamiji announced today, that he is opening wide the Leela Dhyan program. The Leela Dhyan program's next dates are April 1st and May 1st. So ensure that you sign up for the next batches. As Swamiji said today, if you have done Pada Puja even once, you will be able to just pay the remaining amount and be able to attend the program. And for anyone who has done IA and they cause another IA attendee, you will be able to attend the program for free. This is the way that Swamiji opens the door so that more and more people can come and attend the Oneness with the Avatar program, the Leela Dhyana Yoga program. Once again, it is on the 1st of April and the 1st of May, the next dates. I know so many of the viewers will be just rushing to sign up and attend the program. Next, Tamil Inner Awakening is beginning in Madurai on April 14th to May 4th. This program is an introduction into living the science of enlightenment and awakening the powers of Paramashiva, and it is taking place in the supreme place, the abode of Devi Meenakshi and Sundareshwara in Madurai. All of the Tamil viewers who are from all over the world can sign up now at nithyanandahinduuniversity.org/daily-satsang. every weekend we offer a Diksha into Power Manifestation program. It's conducted, the initiation is conducted by Swamiji himself. The Diksha is the Shiva Diksha itself, the first stepping stone into Hinduism. And you will be guided, introduced into Hinduism and how to practice Hinduism and what's the benefits, significances, and make yourself more and more prepared for the journey, the beautiful, blissful journey into Hinduism. I invite all the viewers to join for tonight, 7:30 p.m., the Tamil Satsang. You can always use hashtag #AskTheAvatar as well and tweet at Sri Nithyananda throughout the day whenever you feel. And Swamiji will answer your questions during the live satsang that he conducts every day morning, sharp at 6 a.m. starting. With this, we can now move to the Sri Kailasa Courtyard Power Manifestation sessions. Thank you for watching. Nithyananda.
Paramashivam Om Nithyananda Paramashivam Om Nithyananda Paramashivam Om Nithyananda Paramashivam Nithyananda Paramashivam Om 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 Nithyananda Param
Nithyananda, let's start our manifestation session. Let's sit straight, visualize Bhagwan in your third eye. Let's start with the Satguru Vandanam. Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Vandvatitam Gagana Sadisham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvari Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyananda, welcome to Sri Kailasa Courtyard Manifesting Power Session. Welcome everybody. Such a great darshan, diksha, and powerful cognition, how the delusion, how the mind is constantly being fueled by us, and how the elements, each element has some pattern on us and making us deluded more and more. The earth element, where we are very rigid to let go the identity, and the water element feeling continuously how the delusion happens in us as all the mute space the fire element, how the emotion feeling suicidal and not wanting to let go the reactionary assumptions, let go this delusion, this past, to wake up to the reality. Bhagavan again and again wakes us up to the ultimate self that we are, which we are searching for outside constantly. Bhagavan in one of the satsang beautifully said, how when we sit in the train and we look at the world look as though the trees are moving and everything is moving outside, but actually we are moving in the train. Same way, how our perception of this mind being so real, and he is waking up to the reality that is the ultimate oneness with Paramashiva, that he himself inside us, again and again manifesting the reality that everything that we hear, speak, understand is his manifestation through us. Living that oneness space, living that again and again, our self raising beyond the mind and wanting to be in oneness with Paramashiva. He is waking us up inside and outside by the darshan, diksha, powerful cognition, and inside the initiation, he himself is working to give us that glimpse of ultimate reality. Again and again, making us understand that it is a possibility in us. The identity will not, losing the identity will not leave us anywhere other than the feet, at the feet of Paramashiva. Again and again, Swamiji gives us the higher reality, higher possibility, waking us up into the continuous space of oneness, the Nityatva. We raising to that space and leaving the past and not having reactionary assumption and letting go every moment to be only in the celebration of Paramashiva, holding that beautiful space inside us and manifesting all the reality. Now with that beautiful space, let's start the Shastra Pramana.
The Shastra Pramana for the power of remote vision is taken from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, Sutra 92, Dharana 69. Vyomakaram swamatmanam dhyaye digbir anavritam nirashraya chitih shakti swarupam darshayet tada. Vyomakaram swam atmanam dhyaye digbir anavritam nirashraya chitih shakti swarupam darshayet tada.
Beautifully, Bhagavan has given from the Agamas, the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, Sutra 92, Dharana 69. Here he beautifully explains, concentrate and cognize. Why the word concentrate? The mind is constantly pulling us in the delusion, and the outer world looks real, outer world problem looks so real, outer world achievement, success, all of them brings the identity again and again to become real. We give all the importance continuously doing this, doing that, and empowering the identity. Understanding the empowering of identity is just a silly dream. But more and more living beyond this body, he says so beautifully, we are not just the body, but also the body. How he says, I'm also the Paramashiva. He is the Paramashiva, and he says, I'm also the Paramashiva. Come down in human body just for us to understand how to go beyond our body, our mind, to see and understand how he exists, to raise ourselves beyond the reactionary assumptions, our problems, struggles, incompletion, complaints, resistance. All that is just a dream. To wake up from that, achievement, success, whatever we are going through, it is only a dream because it is too small when compared to the real success when we are in oneness with Paramashiva. The real success happens is the merging with the ultimate and being in one, dissolving in him, and just holding that space of Atma continuously. That is where we exist. But going into the reactionary assumptions, the 5 elements, constantly all are incomplete. The Atma Tattva and cognize the restful awareness, the Atma Tattva, the beautiful space of Paramashanta Swarupa inside us. He says so beautiful, the gold will only hold the diamonds, not the copper or brass. Same way, only the restful awareness will hold the self, the real self, which is the Atma Tattva in us, in the form of vast etheric space, Yoma Karam, which is the limitless in any direction whatsoever. That the Chitik Shakti, the power of consciousness, is freed from all the elements, reveals and manifests herself as the form of one essential nature of the self. The space of Swamiji inside us in the Paramashanta Swarupa simply will manifest as Parashakti, and so beautifully once we are in the oneness space, when we understand that we are not just the body, not just the mind, but something more than that, which is consciousness, which is feeding the mind and the body constantly. Being in that space of consciousness, being that space of Atma Tattva, being and deciding to live that continuously in every action, in every word, have the remembrance that Bhagavan is giving us these words, Bhagavan is doing this action, Bhagavan is making us hear those things, Bhagavan is creating the situation for us to learn something. Again and again, understanding the space within inside us is the Bhagavan space which is manifested as our reality. Whether it is cup of coffee or we are making a decision, financial decision, everything falls into the oneness space with Paramashiva, which is manifested through us. Let's go to the instruction. Today we are going to do the power of remote vision. Bhagavan's going to manifest finding object, lost object or unknown object or some object that you would like to know where it is. Just ask your third eye, all these, whether it's a lost or whether it is something which you've been searching for some time, papers or something, some ancient thing that you want to know and you want to find it, anything, you can just write down the question, whatever you want to be revealed, and let's go to the meditation and let's sit straight, visualize Bhagavan in the third eye, continuously contemplate on what Swamiji is telling, the 5 elements, how we are deluded again and again, how the past can be changed, how the future changes when the past changes, how we let go this world of delusion, and what is that let go, how we are going to manifest the higher reality and fulfill all our desires. All these Tyagas that Swamiji has been talking about, making us the ultimate source of oneness, where everything is manifested through us. It becomes infinite possibility and infinite power and infinite intelligence itself. So here, let's sit down with the head, neck and back in a straight line. Contemplate on the great truth. Visualize Bhagavan in your third eye. Be in the oneness with the darshan that he gave, initiation that we receive. Shakti Pada happens. When Bhagavan himself pulls us, simply it becomes a very easy task when we let go our identity and just be in the oneness with Paramashiva, the darshan that we got. And continuously chant the Mahavakya, the ultimate key to the ultimate space of oneness. When we chant the Mahavakya, the mantra diksha that we got from Bhagavan, It opens our Dveda Shanta and connects to Bhagwan immediately and makes him manifest through us. And we ready to receive that whatever Bhagwan is showing. Continuously hold that space of Bhagwan inside you and chant the Mahavakya till your whole being vibrates with it. In such a joy and oneness, holding that space, contemplating on the truth, and continuously chanting Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Nithyananda Paramashivam. Om 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 Nithyananda
Wonderful. Go ahead and share the beautiful space in the tiny url.com/power-manifestation. Whatever Bhagwan has showed us, going and enriching the world with that again and again, the joy that you feel when you manifest or when you see somebody manifest, sharing that constantly will raise us from the Maya, Pasa, Swamiji described in many ways, that is pulling us continuously into the delusions. The attachment to the outer world, the beliefs, the cognitions, whatever we have can be broken by we contributing to others' life, because others are nothing but our own reflections. So when we share the satsang messages, the power manifestations, your opinions on higher reality, your contemplation, the Vakyasadas, all this gives us more and more reality into the higher definitions and dimensions. Again and again we ask you to share is only because part of the manifesting powers, when you start speaking, you start listening, and you start manifesting that as your life. And simply when you cause one more person, how beautifully Swamiji said, if you cause one more person, you can go for the program. He's not asking us to market anything, but it is such a beautiful space. Only causing can happen when we are cloning somebody as ourselves. Bhagwan, when he just says hello, they are ready to do anything because he just clones everybody in his space. Same way, Bhagwan in us will start manifesting if we start living the Bhagwan that we are. Each one, Swamiji is literally deifying us to live as gods and goddesses on this planet Earth. By manifesting, sharing, and again understanding that he is one who's manifesting through us. And we are here to receive it and celebrate it. Simply we'll be pulled out of delusion. It's a very strong process that contributing in others' life because they are a reflection of us. Each one is a Brahman. Each one is infinite. And each one of us manifest in others is nothing but manifesting our life. Causing others is nothing but ourself. Again and again, Bhagavan gives the highest possibility for us to realize the greatest truth. And it's a very simple way. And such a beautiful space. He speaks about Gurukul manifesting powers by doing Tyaga. Here we have the Nithyananda Gurukul all over the world happening just for us. And if you'd like to have your kids enrolled, go to tinyurl.com/enlightened app, enlightened kids, and you can enroll your kids. And you would like to spend a couple of hours with the kids, the Kailasians all over the world, you can become the Acharya, registrar, new. Even if you don't know to teach, you can be part of it, being observer, simply manifesting the higher reality in us. Seeing how beautiful these kids are manifesting such amazing demo. We had one kid do a demo and 15 other kids enrolled. How she caused 15 kids just by one demonstration of the power. All over the world, kids doing demonstration and enriching other kids to have this higher experience, higher reality, and the possibility is the greatest gift that we all can receive. So if you have any kids or you know any kids, you can join them and start the online Gurukul. Such a beautiful space that Bhagavan has given us today. With that space of Tyaga, let's bow down and give all our cognition and our manifestation and surrender everything to Bhagavan's lotus feet. Again and again when we surrender, whether we are manifested or not, whether it is a problem or some blessing, again and again when we manifest, we empower the space of Tyaga in us. Giving up which is not ours, the identity which is not us, the understanding, the truth, whatever we understand is from the mind. And doing the Tyaga and surrendering to Bhagavan's lotus feet again and again makes us Tyagis. And requesting in deep devotion and in oneness space with deep prayerful and seeking space by asking Bhagavan to make Tyaga as our reality. Simple earning will make it real for us. So with that, let's visualize Bhagavan in the third eye and end with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavate Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam. Nithyanandam, thank you.